how's it going, comic book fanatics, statue lovers? This is another installment. This one is going to be on the statue I just recently received from Sideshow Collectibles. What you see here is the box, and the cover art on this box is done by a beautiful artist. Well, he does beautiful art by the name of Stanley Lau Art Germ. So this is an Art Germ cover of Vampirella. Now, Vampirella, just to give you a little history of who Vampirella was. She actually she was published by a company called Warren Magazines back in 1969. And her very first magazine release was back in September of 1969, which ran to about 1983, up to about 112 copies or so. Now, the origin of Vampirella was that the storyline goes that she came from a planet called Draculon, and where there was nothing but vampiric races, and they basically lived off of blood. And how they got blood was they had a river flowing with blood, and the river started drying up, and a lot of the vampiric races started dying off. So as the last few remainders of the vampires started dying off, a spacecraft from Earth crash lands onto their planet of Draculon, and she was attacked by them, and then eventually retaliated, defended herself, and found a way to actually get back to Earth onto that spacecraft. Vampirella is actually what we call a anti-hero, because she's not necessarily bad. Then again, she's not necessarily good either, but her mission on Earth, what she wound up doing was actually destroying or going out killing all the bad vampires, all the evil vampires. And so, I guess you can say she became a good vampire, and trying to devote herself to ridding the world of evil vampires, And a lot of, after the run of the magazines, after it ended in 1983, different other publishing companies took a hold of it, like Dynamite, and they just kind of revamped, not necessarily revamped, no pun intended, but just kind of took on with the series and with just different artists and things like that, and has gone on till now. And they actually produce some really beautiful covers as well. And for example, the one here you see by Art Germ. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push up just a little bit and just kind of turn the box here so you can see a little bit. It's a wraparound art box, if you will. You see the bats on the background here. And the top of the box basically just has the top of her head and Vampirella on top of it. So it's an absolutely gorgeous box. So great presentation on that part, especially by Sideshow, because sometimes some of these boxes, they're very plain. They don't have a lot of artwork on it, but I'm very happy with this artwork. I'm not necessarily too into how boxes look. I'm mainly concerned about the statue alone. And I'm not really big on doing unboxings as well, so I'm not going to suffer everybody through the process of me opening this box up and taking every bit and pieces out. What I'll go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and unbox it, take everything out, set it up, then I'll go ahead and restart the video. That way you can actually see the pieces already put together, and if there's any additional parts and pieces, I'll go ahead and show that to you as well, and put it on and just see how it looks. This is the actual exclusive version of Vampirella, so I'm very happy I was able to pre-order this at the beginning of the year or so. So this is definitely something I've been looking forward to. I've always been a big fan of Vampirella, and her number one magazine number one, I think I've seen it as high as up to $300 right now on some conventions, and you could probably work your way to a lower price or what have you, but I'm still on the lookout for that. So if anybody out there has a good fair price on Vampirella, hit me up, because I'm always interested on getting that magazine again. My father used to have it when I was real young, he had an extensive Vampirella collection. Unfortunately, you know, it was lost through the years and everything, so I wasn't able to inherit some of that, unfortunately. But it is what it is, right? So anyways, so I hope you enjoyed this video, as always. And I will go ahead and start the unwrapping and unboxing and getting the statue put together. Okay, so I got the piece together, and I had to change the angle of the video because of the backlight. It started to kind of blur it out a little bit, so I didn't want that for the video. But basically, this is an exclusive piece, as I said. So with the exclusive piece came an additional left arm, and the left arm is really no different than the other left arm, exclusive left arm, except for the bat that's included on the other one. But for the most part, it's the very same hand, no different to it. But the other one, like I said, it has the bat on it. Okay. Now, starting from the base of this, you can see, and let me see if I can. Well, let's do this first. Let me go ahead and give you a full 360 of this. That way you can get an idea. And then we'll go ahead and move on to starting with the base, and we'll work our way up with the pieces of each pieces of the statue and how they're assembled and exactly the details of each part. And we'll try to cover each piece as we go through and we walk through each part of that. So as I said, you got the 360 of it, but let's start at the base, and I'll go ahead and I'll zoom this bad boy in because we'll try to get a base look at this. And so starting with the base here, you've got, looks like what to be a cone shape, and with skulls at the base of it, used for the foundation. So we have probably about, looks like either 7 or 8, 2, 4, 6, I'm sorry. So 6 skull heads aligned at the base of this, as you see. And so we've got some intricate detailings going on. Sideshow did a really good job as far as the detailing and covering each skull. And the overlaid patterns, as you see right over here, that come up to the cone shape. Now, of course, this being very thin right here, you've got a larger base, and this includes this. My concern was if it was going to get off balance anyhow, but it looks to be really steady, and the balance looks to be really good on this. So I'm not disappointed at all when it comes to the base and the foundation. Oh, excuse me of that. Let's see, I can turn this up back a little bit more. Now, as you see at the a little bit further up on the base, you have what looks to be a cemetery ground portion of it. And why I say that, of course, is because the headstone is right here. And then you have another skull which is laid on the side. And this is another well-designed piece of art right here, which they did some outstanding detailing. And bottom ground portion of it, you'll see pieces of the roots as you go lower. And right behind it as well, you'll see 2 more of the headstones and the bottom portion of the roots. And let me back up, that way you can see just a little bit more what I'm talking about. And we'll zoom that in just a little bit more. Okay. Now you see you have the Gothic cross right here, and then just a regular headstone, and then looks like you have an old tree just kind of trolling itself up on that. And of course the base right here, not the base, but the bottom portion where the ground is, the cemetery ground is, you'll have some root pieces. And these are a little bit flimsy, so you have to be very cautious and be very careful when you handle this. You probably don't want to touch these bottom pieces right here, especially this. As you can see, I can just move it with my finger here. Okay, so great detailing. However, just be very, very cautious if you decide to get one of these pieces on how you handle it. so you don't actually go off and you break anything. Okay, so we'll push up a little bit higher, and then we're starting to get to a little bit of Vampirella here, and I'll zoom that out a little bit so you can see. And so one thing I love about sideshows is that their parts and pieces of their cloth, they always utilize material, actual material, as opposed to being a part of that polystone, and so not actually being a part of that statue, but a different entity of it. So this right here is definitely its own leather pieces, and this right here as well is its own leather pieces as well. Okay, but everything else for the most part seems to be all polystone. Okay, so they've gotten her boots, her leather boots, up on here, and they go all the way up to her mid-thigh. And if you look towards the back right over here, the leather portion of her, I guess you could say her suit, goes all the way down and up. So they did a great job as far as making that. And of course her glutes right here, great in that anatomical figure, great detailing on that one. Okay, and then right here on this portion you'll see the Vampirella emblem right in the center, as you see. And as you go up, great work on that, all the way down to the detailing of her fingernails. All her fingernails are painted. Her lipsticks, her eyes, you've got the eyeshadow going on as well. The half moon for her earrings are there, and then she also has her bracelet, which is halfway towards her forearm here. So very, very intricate detailing all the way down to her head, her hair, and her hair is definitely part of it, part of the statue itself. So it doesn't flow like anything as far as like you would think maybe if she had actual real hair or anything, but they did a great job as far as separating and using the separations to detail her hair in there. And basically her head is magnetized and it just comes off. So you have her head portion right there. Okay. And once again, they're all magnetized. Sideshow uses a lot of magnets now in a lot of their statues, and I would say all of their statues. And so that way it's easier just to kind of just lay in there and not having to worry if it comes off or not. I would not try to handle it roughly, because it's not a really strong type of magnet where you think it's gonna be secured like glue. So, and as you saw as I took off her head, and let me give you another example, when I take her arm off here, it just kind of comes off, okay? So it's magnetized enough where it'll just go in, but not to a point where you want to grab it, if that makes any sense to you, okay? Another portion of this right here, that's her other portion of her hand that comes off, and then that magnetizes back on there as well, okay? Now, the way she actually is mounted onto this is her feet are held within by magnets as well, and by prongs. And I'll try my best to take this out. There we go. And as you see, there's a bit of a prong, and the magnets are located there as well. So she'll actually go in there, and she's fit sturdily on. Would have been something if I actually broke it by dropping in a second. Now that would have been good at all. I've been absolutely probably be seeing a grown man cry here. Okay, so this is Vampirella in a nutshell, and I told you a little bit about her origin and where she came from, and her magazines started back in 1969. But for the most part, it's a simple piece. However, being that it's simple, I think the detailing is very fine, and they've done a really great job as far as the way they present her body figure and the likeness of what she has, what you see in most magazines. Okay, and basically what I do a lot, taking them out of the box or even dusting, I use a fine tip paintbrush, and I'll try to wipe away some of the styrofoam that kind of gets stuck into there sometimes, and that way even sometimes dust will get on there, and I'll use these to kind of just wipe them away. And I don't recommend using anything stronger than a fine brush, because you definitely don't want to scratch any of the paint off. You don't want to damage the statue in any way, especially if it's a statue that you really love and you've pre-ordered and waited for it for a very long while. So I definitely am. I'm happy. I'm definitely happy with what I see here, and I'm definitely happy with the quality of work that I see. And once again, I think Sideshow has definitely impressed me in more ways than one. And if you're a fan of Sideshow, you definitely understand where I'm coming from, what I'm saying when it comes to the quality of work. They do a great job, and they have great customer service as well. And if you, for any reason, have a statue that comes to you and their quality inspection didn't do any justice to it, then all you have to do is really call them up and kind of give them what your complaint is, and they'll be more than happy to oblige you. That's one thing I love about American society's customer service. They're always there to make the customer happy, you know. So anyways, if you have any questions about this, or any type of comments or remarks, by all means, please make your comments down below. Also, if you are just coming here for the first time and this is your first video you see of the statues, come back again, and I'm sure I'll probably have more statues later on. And if you don't see anything you like on this channel, come back. I'm sure eventually we'll have something, because I'm trying to make this channel, me and my buddy Ray, trying to make this channel as versatile to everybody, from comic books to statues to action figures or what have you. So I'm definitely going to try to be one of those guys who put a lot of variety in, and definitely you can see the passion in a lot of things that we do and the things that we love. And just like you guys out there as well, if there's something that you love, that you like, by all means tag me in it, subscribe to me, and send me a request or what have you, and I'll definitely check you out. Okay, so once again, thanks a lot for coming by, checking our show out, coming by and checking our statues and our comic books, and hopefully you stick with us, and hopefully we can get more subscribers in the future, and just wind up doing more things. Okay, so once again, thank you for coming to Comic Book Fanatics, and this is Fanboy 72.